God has no origin, said Novation, and it is precisely this concept of no origin which distinguishes that which is God from whatever is not God. Like everything. This is the Saints and Sages podcast, episode number 11.
Whoa.
That's a lot, right?
11.
I'm darn proud of us.
Yeah. Double digits.
Darn proud of us.
Yeah.
We are jumping into chapter 5 of Knowledge of the Holy today, and as a chapter begins, so means a guest appearance by our friend, Brittany.
Lord of all being, thou alone canst affirm, I am that I am. Yet we who are made in thy image may each one repeat, I am. So confessing that we derive from thee and that our words are but an echo of thy own, we acknowledge thee to be the great original of which we thy goodness are grateful if imperfect copies. We worship thee, O Father everlasting. Amen.
How in the world do we begin a conversation about the self-existence of God? I ask thee.
We need thee.
Every hour we need thee.
Mm-hmm.
This chapter had me like, well, this could be interesting, but also thinking this could be really daunting just for, I don't know, trying to wrap my head around what it means to be self-existent. One of the very early lines in this chapter was another thing that jumped out at me. Origin is a word that can apply only to things created. When we think of anything that has origin, we are not thinking of God. God is self-existent, while all created things necessarily originated somewhere at some time. Aside from God, nothing is self-caused.
That is deep and good.
It is so deep. And I feel like the more I read it, the more I start to get half an understanding.
Tell me, what are your thoughts?
Oh, each one of us has a beginning and an end. Everything that you can see in this room didn't exist at one point, and then somebody put it together, and now it is a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So everybody, everything has a timeline. God lives outside of time.
Outside of time.
And I can say those things factually, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the understanding corner of my mind
I'm with you.
can explain that
Right.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I still believe it to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I had a conversation with somebody about evolution versus creation. So if we believe in evolution, then you believe that inorganic matter came together, hydrogen, and then atoms crashed, and then we eventually got here. Now, that's a stretch.
A little bit.
To me. But, you just go back to that simple thing of, well, where did the hydrogen come from? Where did the atoms come from? Which is interesting that they have 3. When I was thinking of the Trinity, there's the neutron, the electron, and the proton.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good.
Going back far there.
That's going back.
But yeah, so
proving why I did not take high school chemistry.
Oh gosh.
But these are all matter, right?
Yeah.
So
everything is made of atoms, right? They need the 3 to stay stable. Because if they're just a positive, then they're going to be attracting, all the positives attract and the negatives. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure plenty of people could be like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. But it's intricate. Like even the way the
atom that we can't see with our eye, that everything's made up of, is intricately created. It can't.
Yes.
It had to have
As a
been
designer.
Created.
Yes.
You've got to either believe in a creator or just inorganic matter that somehow came together. So
Somehow
anyway, you know what I
appeared out
mean?
of nothing.
I mean, Jesus said he was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the beginning with God,
Yes.
and he created all things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why the I am that we get to later.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the ultimate statement.
Yeah. And that's, I realize that to me, it's an odd statement to say, well, it takes faith to believe in the Big Bang Theory. Yeah. I can't deny that, but it's hard for me to call that faith.
Right.
But like you're saying, I completely agree. How can you think that something just appeared out of nothing?
Mm-hmm.
That will never make sense to me.
Yeah.
That even in my weirdest times of doubt of God, little things like that kind of make me come to my come to terms with myself. It's like, wait a second. How in the world can you possibly doubt when the existence of you and I is so incumbent on our Creator God? Plus everything we've ever seen, plus everything we've ever will see. Psalm 90, verse 2. Before the mountains were born, before you gave birth to the earth, that's a nice poem, and the world, and, from beginning to end, you are God.
Yeah.
The psalmist got it.
The other one I think of with that too is when I see the heavens and your works
Oh, yes.
in Psalm, what is man that you are
Mindful.
mindful of him?
Mm-hmm.
That's another, all those are like, could bring you to your knees if you really think about it in gratefulness.
Oh, yeah. I think you could find yourself in that place over and over just reading through the Psalms.
Yeah.
The psalmists who had those, I think, very, very human moments and just came to the end of themselves and having those times of just going, all right, God, it's you. Even when I don't understand much of anything, it's still you.
Mm.
Yes. Do you guys have anything else on that first
Well,
section?
if you're staying with science, there was this section down here on the second page
Can you read that?
that says philosophy and science have not always been friendly toward the idea of God. The reason being that they are dedicated to the task of accounting for things that are impatient with anything that refuses to give an account of itself.
Yeah.
And so that right there, I mean, I almost feel like sometimes scientists have to let it fit their narrative. And if it doesn't, it's like, nope, can't be that, you know? And,
Yes.
But man, like what a disservice they're doing to themselves if you can't even allow yourself to believe in the creator, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was a very interesting point you made down there.
Definitely. Well, right above that, it says we tend to be disquieted by the thought of one who does not account to us for his being, who is responsible to no one, who is self-existent, self-dependent, and self-sufficient. So I think that goes along with what you're saying, like we're disquieted by that. When I was reading that, I thought of Chronicles of Narnia.
I shall feel rather nervous meeting a lion.
That you will, dearies, and no mistake. But if there's anyone can appear before Aslan without their knees knocking, they're either braver than most, or else just silly.
Then isn't he safe?
Safe? Don't you hear what Mrs. Beaver tells you? Course he isn't safe. But he's good.
When I think about Jesus and think, well, of course he's safe. But really, he's not safe per se. I mean, he's the one who knocked over the tables. And when Jesus was talking in Matthew to the disciples, he was sending them out. And basically, he's like, you're going to get flogged. You know, and then he says, and do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. He's talking about God.
Mm-hmm.
That's not safe.
No.
Mm-mm.
I think dwelling on that, he's not just this loving God who is going to let everybody into heaven and you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
There's an order to things
Yes.
that we have to accept.
That's his holiness.
That's why he made a way,
Yes, exactly.
you know?
That's the beauty of it.
yeah.
He laid out a standard, truthfully, that none of us could ever possibly live up to.
Right.
But he still did leave an order.
Yeah.
And even for the times that we can't walk that order, there's Jesus.
Mm-hmm. So he's good.
He is very
He's good.
Did you guys, wait, I circled this so you guys would see it though.
What?
This Frederick Faber guy. Is it Faber?
Mhm. I'm going to say
Did you see
favor.
that last part there? Awful Trinity.
Yes.
Oh,
Remember
yes.
when we talked about
back,
that?
Back
Yeah.
up. Back up. Read that whole little, let's call it a poem.
Okay. Timeless, spaceless, single, lonely, yet subliminally three. Thou art grandly, always, only God in unity. Lone and grandeur, lone in glory. Who shall tell thy wondrous story? Awful Trinity.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do remember that
Do
conversation.
you remember us talking about
Yeah.
why do we say awesome when it
Yes.
should be awful? And there it is right there.
Yes.
Frederick knew.
Full of awe.
Full of awe and not just some awe. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, we need to twist those words back. Come on.
Yeah.
We gotta get that. Not twist
Started.
them, but
Who
let's
do
go
we
back
talk to about
Let's
this?
go back to the origin. Frederick was right.
Full of awe.
Well, spoiler alert, it's in the next chapter too. So I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it is.
cool. This is a word.
Chapters 5 and 6 do play very well together. I don't know if I would go so far as to say, well, yeah, after you get both of those chapters under your belt, you're good. You'll understand all this. No. But I think we've touched on it a lot. I think the more that we focus on this stuff, the more that we sit and talk about this stuff, the way that we reason with each other about, oh, here's what I'm getting. What are you getting? That we can operate even when understanding does not, blow the chart off on where we are with any of the topics within this book. But I think it just pulls us that much closer to who he is and that much closer to understanding his holiness.
He makes a great point. Few of us have let our hearts gaze in wonder at the I am. And I think everybody could say, yeah, I don't think about that enough.
Well, and finish that sentence. The self-existent self, back of which no creature can think. The self-existent self. That goes back to last week in the tripleness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, there's that word.
Yeah.
Tripleness.
Tripleness.
The self-existent self. Because no one else can claim that or lay claim to anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked, we're not going to be here very long. Even if, I don't know, we've all at least heard of people who've lived to 100 or more. The likelihood, though, that one of us will see 100 to suggest that nobody in this room is going to live to 100.
Grim. I don't know.
Yeah, it did.
Where are you going with this?
I don't know. Now that I kind of ran off a road and turned around to wonder where you guys were.
No, I know what you're saying. Our self-existence has an end.
Oh,
We're
is it?
not
We don't
even
have-
self-existent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are the limited, but we are loved by the limitless.
Ooh, I
Yes,
like that. I
yeah.
like that one.
You know, when you say he doesn't have origin, I was reading about where God said he was the I am.
Mm-hmm.
And for 4 centuries, they had been under Egyptian rule.
Mm.
They had so many gods, but they all had an origin story. They had a life and a death story.
Yes.
And they went to certain gods for certain things.
Oh, yeah.
God, he's saying to them who just were in this place, tell them I am.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling them, you don't have to look to any of those gods. I don't have an origin story. I don't have a life and a death. I
don't have a tombstone. Sorry.
Yeah.
Buddha, Muhammad,
Mm-hmm.
so many others like them. You can visit graves.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that just automatically disqualifies you.
Right.
Right.
You may have lived a decent life. You may have said inspiring things and asked people to be better. But that tombstone is where I'm going to have to stop.
Yes. Back to the Trinity of our last episode, how important that moment was in saying I am, because the Trinity used that throughout the Bible, because Jesus comes back around and says, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the Son of the living God?
Yes. And there's like
I
7 I am statements. But they asked him, and he said, I am. Before Abraham was, I am.
I am.
And he's saying, I am God. That's why they wanted to stone him.
Yes.
And what ultimately got him crucified.
To claim equality with God.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, I just love how the Old Testament connects with the New Testament and how they, meaning the Trinity, just shows themselves one.
Yes.
And leaves breadcrumbs.
Yes.
For especially the Jewish people when they knew
yes.
what he was saying.
Oh, they knew scripture.
He just said, he's the I am.
Yes. You can imagine how that hit their ears of anyone who would possibly claim.
Yeah.
Just follow me.
It's me.
It's me. Right. And I love that, what you guys were saying. It's like they knew the scripture. So, Heather, you brought up the 7 times that Jesus says, I am. So we'll run through a few of them here. I am the bread of life. As bread sustains physical life, so Christ offers and sustains spiritual life. That's backed up by John 6:35, 41, 48, and 51. I am the light of the world, John 8:12. To a world lost in darkness, Christ offers himself as a guide. In John 10:7 and 9, I am the door of the sheep. Jesus protects his followers as shepherds protect their flocks from predators. John 11:25, I am the resurrection and the life. John 10:11, I am the good shepherd. John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. John 15:1, I am the true vine, which goes right along with what you were saying. Apart from me, you can't do anything.
You can do anything.
Right.
You can do nothing. So there was a little note there. By attaching ourselves to Christ, we enable his life to flow in and through us. Then we cannot help but bear fruit that will honor the Father. I love that.
So good.
That's
right?
good, man.
Yep.
I need hope. And he answers, I am.
This is Pastor Louis Giglio from Passion City Church in Atlanta, Georgia, speaking from his book, I Am Not, But I Know I Am.
Who could possibly be smart enough to figure all this out? I am. What works? I am. What lasts? I am. What's the latest thing? I am. What's the hippest thing? I am. I need a fresh start. I am. I need a bigger story. I am. My vision is bigger than my resources. I am. Nothing is real anymore. I am. Who can I trust? I am. I'm not sure who's on my team. I am. Nobody's listening to me. I am. I don't have a prayer. I am. My marriage is sinking, and I don't know where to turn. I am. I've always hoped for a marriage in the future, but I don't know what's going to come. I am. I can't hold on. I am. I'm pouring into others. Who's pouring into me? I am. If we fail, who'll get the job done? I am. Not sure why I'm here. I am. I've given all I can give and it's not enough. I am. I'm tired. I am. I quit. I am. I can't. I am. I need a drink. I am. I need a fix. I am. I need a lover. I am. I just need somebody to hold me. I am. I am the first and the last and the beginning and the end.
Well, that says it so well.
Man. So it's the most brilliant answer ever given.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I am. The shortest and the most brilliant.
I feel silly how
'Cause you
I
can't
read that
argue that.
before, and now I'm like, whoa.
But at the same, okay, we're back to the safety thing. I believe there's safety in that,
Yes.
but I believe there's danger in that.
Yeah.
There's equal parts comfort and discomfort.
Yeah.
You can be comforted by that, but you can be discomforted by trying to refute that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Is it literally the best and most perfect answer to any question we could ever come up with?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I never thought of doing it in a practical way like that either, where you just, it just resonates in your heart what he is.
We're supposed to be about him and let go of ourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he is the I am. He's the non-selfish self.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was the
Very
line
good.
we were talking about before?
Self-existent.
The self-existent
Yeah.
self. I struggle how to bring a conversation like this to a close. Listener, I believe that I can speak for my two friends here when I say, lean into the I am. Lean into all that he is. And just ask him, God, help me to understand what it means for you to be completely self-existent and how everything that you are fuels everything that I want to be.
And also that God would show us all the safest place in the world is in his arms.
We'll see you next week.
The Saints and Sages podcast is a production of Sozo Digital Media.